brakes, and here's an example of what we'll call neglect. Now I even had to cut this cable off to get this to release, and it still won't release because we've got a 35-year-old car and somebody didn't put cables on, and even though they gave me a stack of receipts for work that was accomplished, they were just throwing money and different mechanics at it. I mean, this is just unacceptable. So you have to fix what needs to be fixed on your Alliance. So I'm going to replace these. Now the other thing is, I always separate the drum from the hub. This has a ridge on the inside and a ridge on the outside, and I grind that off. So when I was taking this drum, because it was so tightly pressed up against everything, it blew the bearing out trying to get it out. So I'm going to have to grind this off, the inside lip and the outside lip, which will allow me to get this off and freely. Now what you have to do to separate this is to put it between a couple blocks, take old lug nuts, tighten them on, and then whack it here, whack it here, whack it here, whack it here, and that will release it. Now if you put it flat, you can end up whacking the hammer against your concrete, so that's why you have to put it on some kind of blocks. Here's an example of a drum that J.C. Whitney sent me, and the picture showed a generic drum, and this is what they sent me to fix for a Renault, and it's bare, so I'm going to have to get some studs and a bearing. Now I bought this is for the regular Alliance, and this came from a Ford Tempo. Why they come in two pieces, I have no idea, but apparently the Tempo bearing is almost as good as the Renault Alliance bearing. So Daryl Stein had a problem with that, and I'm going to experiment with both. But the fact that it blew the bearing out, now I have to replace the bearing on the hub. I could have just used this, but when I prepare this drum, I'm going to grind out this inner piece here so no ridge will develop, and grind the edge off so no ridge will develop, because that's how you can't get your drum off, because even though your brake shoes are here, there's a slight area there your brake shoes never touch, so it makes a small groove in here, and this does not. And then when you're trying to pull the drum out, your brake shoes are actually hitting that ridge. That's why it's so difficult to get your drum off. So once again, you need 9,000 tools to do one brake job, and it's about ready to drive me nuts. Taking me days already. There's my new brake cables. You should always have these. You should have the rubber ones too. That's going to wrap up today, hopefully, and maybe tomorrow I'll have brakes.